Well, it's a beautiful campus, and I'm really excited to be here. I think one of the things I'm struck by is that even when university is not in session, it feels like a very lively place. And looking around, seeing all the projects everyone's working on is really wonderful. So I can really feel it's a fantastic vibe, and there's really a lot going on here for the students. So it's great to be here, and it seems like a great university. Open learning started when Professor Richard Buckland from the University of New South Wales got in touch with me, and he had originally put his lecture videos on YouTube and received over 2 million views on the videos. And students from all around the world were contacting him saying, oh, it's fantastic, I really love those videos, it's a great course. But he was always really devastated that he couldn't give them the actual course experience. And for him, that experience is really around the students working together on projects to solve problems, to help each other out, to go on a learning journey together. So the lectures were only part of that. The rest of it was really around the projects, the interaction, getting to know the people you're working with. So he really wanted to find a way to bring that online. And he tried so many things over the years, from wikis to learning management systems, to forums, to Facebook, but it just didn't work. So we figured, well, we've really got to build something. We've really got to build a platform to do this. And the impetus for it was that he wanted to run his course as a large online course. This was before the word MOOC, so he figured he just wanted to run a course for the world effectively. So we started off building the platform to do that, and it quickly evolved into open learning, where anyone could create a course, and the courses were really around fostering the community, the social interaction, and providing interactive and engaging activities for the students. And that's really how it came about. Well, I think one of the big challenges has been the sheer number of features and things required, because every teacher is very different in the way they want to run their course. And so one size doesn't fit all. And in some products, when you build some online services or applications, you can have what's called a minimum viable product. So the very basic thing that just does the basics and works and people enjoy it. With learning, that's a lot harder, because you need a lot of different things to fit together well to make the course a success. So that one of the big challenges with open learning has been executing the right ideas at the right time and putting everything together in the right way. So that's been one of the big challenges, actually building the product. Yeah, I think Malaysia can't do without it. So Malaysia really needs to take the concept of MOOCs and online learning on board, particularly because there are many students inside the country and outside who don't have equal access to education. And I think one of the things we saw with Professor Mushtaq's MOOC is that students all around the world were interested in not just learning about entrepreneurship from Mushtaq, but in Malaysia's approach to education and the type of entrepreneurship teaching and things that were going on here. So even many students in the US were quite interested in that. So I think Malaysia is definitely ready for it, and the more it embraces it, the better it'll do. So it'll attract more international students to the country, it'll increase the reputation, and it'll really help people understand Malaysia's place in the world. Yeah, I think one of the things we've seen over the years in terms of current platforms and current teaching practices is that they're very one-directional. And what I mean by that is it's usually the teacher disseminating information to the student, and all the platforms online were designed around that. So they were designed around the teacher putting up documents or putting up a lecture video and the student consuming it. But the real learning happens, from our experience, in the interaction between students, the group work that they do, the practical application of their learning. And certainly when we think about what was exciting and fun for us when we were at university, it was the group projects, building something together. To be honest, I can't remember the courses where the lecturer just stood up and talked. I remember the courses where I worked with a group of people I never met to do something pretty amazing. whether it was building robotics or even just solving a mathematics proof. Like, those are the experiences. So I think open learning is really designed to bring those online and to really go against the trend that online learning is boring, that it's just ticking boxes. I think it can be much more. In many ways, a lot of the developing countries are quite lucky in the sense that they haven't made such huge, long-standing investments in the past. You know, in a lot of places, there's particularly in you know, very developed or much older countries, that they've spent a lot of money doing things and they're reluctant to change, even when they know that that change is good. So there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of built-in, you know, built-in entrenched problems. So I think when the developing world takes this on board, what they can do is bypass all of that. They can go straight to what's best, and they can really embrace those ideas for e-learning and for online learning that work. And I think one of the things we've seen over the years is that, particularly the past 5, 10, 15 years, is that online learning has gone in stages. It started off where you just put up the document online, everyone downloads it. That was like e-learning 1.0, right? And then the second stage of that was, okay, maybe you put up your documents and then you had a forum, or maybe you had a YouTube video, but none of that was really together. So that was the second stage. And that was around 2005, 2008. Now, what we're seeing now, where everything is moving, and we think open learning is at the forefront of this, is where learning is becoming a lot more like Facebook, where there is peer-to-peer interaction going on. So it's no longer just disseminating information, it's the students as a crowd building the course together, going through it together, and learning together. And we see that as the third stage of online learning. So in the next 5 years, we're really looking at building out the platform even more. So what we've seen is what we have so far works. People love it, people around the world like it. So the plan for open learning as a company is to get that out there, to distribute the product and the platform, and to bring more universities and more companies on board with that. Because it's not just universities that learning is changing in. Companies want much more engaging online learning as well, and open learning as a platform can deliver that. So we're getting the platform out there, we're expanding it, and we're working on some amazing new ideas as well. In 10 years, I think the education system in some places, sadly, won't be too different, but in many places you will see some significant changes. So I think one of the things we see is a huge move towards blended learning and portfolio-based teaching, and particularly where students on campus are working together in groups on projects a lot more, when rather than taking a lot of exams and quizzes, they're putting together portfolios of the work they're doing and then really reflecting on what's happening. So I think universities and campuses will still be very vibrant and strong, but they will do a lot more online. So they'll take advantage of things that are happening online and to reach other people around the world. So international students who never come to the campus might be working together with on-campus students, the way it's happened in Professor Mushtak's course already. I think you just have to do things that are meaningful. You know, the way I look at it is that no matter who you are, where you're from, life will be challenging and hopefully life will be long as well. And you can spend your life working at a job you don't really enjoy, or working for a company you don't believe in, or just getting by and not really doing much. Or with that exact same time, you could spend it doing something challenging and difficult, but knowing that you're making a difference. So I think the analogy I normally use is if you're going to be walking, anyway, you might as well carry something. You might as well do something productive. So for me, that's usually what I do. I just look around and I see, what's the biggest difference I can make. And education as an industry and as a platform and as just something that everyone is involved in is just so big. So the opportunity is so great. So for me, there's nothing else that I think I could be doing which would be more useful to people.